Hey, it's me. Hi, it's me, Vicky Marie, with a cup of tea. Got to work on this merchandise, haven't I? Okay, so I wasn't supposed to be coming on until the members live later, but then I saw this news and it's just made me so angry, as you can imagine. So this is my rant of the day. He's like, what is wrong with the police? What is wrong with the police? Why? Is it just because we get to know more now about things that go wrong, or are they really so much worse now than they used to be? Or were they always this bad, but we just didn't get to know? I can't decide. I just don't know. You let me know what you think. But it's very depressing. It's very, very depressing. Anyway, first of all, I'll just say hello to people and then I can get on with it. Hi, Chumba. Hi, Princess. You're always in the bath, Princess. How many? You must be the cleanest princess in your area. Hi, David. Hi, Jackie. Yeah, don't get your toes. Well, get your toes stuck in the tap if you like your plumber, and that's a good way of getting him to come round. Okay. There might be some curse words, Jackie. There might well be some curse words. Hi, Carla. So yeah, they may well, but I'm trying really hard not to swear, but sometimes you just get so angry with things that are going on, don't you, that it's just like impossible not to. So there's two things I want to talk about, and they both include police investigations against the police. So the most important one I want to talk about is Gracie and how the Derbyshire police let Gracie Spinks down. And this has made me especially angry because this is a stalking case. It reminds me of the issue I had with my stalker years ago, my ex-partner. And I thought things had got better. I really thought things had got better. It's so frustrating because you're trying to tell people, not only the police sometimes, but your friends and your family, that you feel that you're in danger. Nobody listens until something happens. I was actually told that by the police at the time, that until he actually did something, they could not do anything because then there were not laws against stalking, etc. Now I think there are, but the police totally made a bollocks of this whole thing. And the thing is, that meant that Gracie paid with her life. So anyway, that's the main thing we're going to talk about. First of all, I'm going to talk about, just briefly, because it just sort of ties in with it, about the Grindr killer, Stephen Port. Now, I have done a video on this guy's serial killer. Horrible man. Oh, I mean, you can talk about the eyes being the windows to the soul. Look at them. Look at that. God, if you ever saw the face of evil looking back at you, look at his eyes, look at his face, horrible. Just, oh my God, it just gives me the creeps. So, of course, this guy, he murdered several young men, young gay men, and he got away with it. He got away with it because they were gay. There was homophobia involved in this case. The police didn't take the complaints of the families seriously. Two of these men were found in the same graveyard by the same woman walking a dog propped up against the wall or against graves. One was found propped up outside his house, and he came out with some story. And what he used to do, he would dress up, he would put a wig on, because of course, and try and look younger, take selfies, etc. Arranged to meet these poor lads who were some of them were on Grindr, which is like a gay dating app. And that was it. They were never seen again. He would give them the date rape drug and kill them, and etc. So now the police, from his case, this was a little while ago, so I'm surprised this is just coming up now. So 5 officers and 3 former officers are being investigated over their handling of the police probe into the murders of serial killer Stephen Port. They're being investigated for gross misconduct. The Independent Office for Police Conduct, the IOPC, said. Now, I wonder what they mean by that. I wonder what it is exactly. Anyway, in April, a report from His Majesty's Inspectorate of Constabulary on Fire and Rescue Services warned that the Met had still not learned from its calamitous litany of failures in this case, meaning that the force could have missed other murders. So the Grindr killer drugged his victims, Anthony Wargate, Gabriel Coverari, Daniel Worth and Jack Taylor, with overdoses of GHB and dumped their bodies near his flat. This guy did not take them miles away and bury them in a forest. He just left them around like rubbish, like you'd just drop a chocolate wrapper or something on the floor. You know, one was literally in the doorway of his flat. 2 were found in the cemetery, as I say, by the same dog walker. So now we can see, so despite what people now see as the obvious links, the police weren't interested. You know, it was thought at the time they didn't take it seriously because of homophobia, which is probably true. So it wasn't until the final victim's body was found, with the families carrying out their own investigations, that the local police finally realised they had a serial killer on their hands. So they just assumed that these other boys, it was their lifestyle choice, you know, like having a tent. You know, it's a lifestyle choice to get yourself murdered. Anyway, these are the boys, bless them. Young boys, or young men. They're men, but they were young. So Steve Noonan said our reinvestigation has been and continues to be thorough and detailed. We recognise it's taken some time to reach this stage, but these are complex matters. Well, at least they haven't said, oh, well, lessons to be learned, but, you know, like no further action. At least they haven't said that. That's a normal thing that they say, isn't it? So we have found an indication that the behaviour of these 8 individuals may have amounted to gross misconduct. I wonder what that is exactly. What would amount to gross misconduct? Oh, but it does not necessarily mean disciplinary proceedings will automatically follow. Anyway, based on the evidence at the conclusion of our investigation, we will decide whether any officers should face disciplinary proceedings. Well, I must admit, though, for fuck's sake, how long does it take? This was years ago. Anyway, he added that the families of the men killed had shown considerable patience, and they reiterated their heartfelt apologies, because, of course, that brings dead boys back. And a lawyer from the family said the development was a testament to their determination and perseverance. Now, they have received some compensation. So anyway, I'm not going to go into this in a big way, just for the fact that I have done a video on this case before, which is on, you know, if you tap in Grindr Killer or Stephen Port into my channel, you will find the video. Or if you're not sure, if you can't find it, just get in touch with me and I'll send you the link. But, you know, it was a definite case that, although they could not have obviously prevented the death of the first unfortunate soul, I think the other 3 could possibly have been prevented, because Daniel, who was the first victim, sure it was Daniel, whoever was the first victim, was found literally he phoned the police himself and said there's a dead boy outside, and he wasn't investigated. Oh, so I just wanted to tell you about that. So that's the Met, is it? Yeah, that's the Met. This is what I mean. There's no, like, if you think, oh, it's just the Met or it's just Lancashire Police. Are all police forces the same? Because this is the Met, then we know what Lancashire Police are like. I don't think it's helped Lancashire Police having Mr. Snowman in charge. The more I see of Mr. Snowman, the more I just think he's just a KNOB, isn't he? He's just a KNOB. He's just like all image and no substance. All image and no substance. God, let me get this man off my... Okay. So just wanted to tell you about that. But then the main hygiene. So we've got Princess in the bathroom. We've got hygienes here. So we've got very clean chat today. Hi, Desi. Hi, Ray. Chumba. Hi, Chumba. Yeah, he wore a wig to make himself look younger on his pictures. Okay. I think I've said hello to everyone who's in the chat, but hello to everybody who's watching at home as well. Thank you. Hi, Sharon. Right, just let me have a drink of tea before I start with this, because you know, I just hope somewhere somebody's, you know, is it because they're so under-resourced? Are they only, is it to do with the recruitment? You know, that people say virtually anyone can be a policeman these days. You know, the bar is lowered because people don't want to be a policeman. And believe me, I understand that, because it's not an easy job. It's definitely not an easy job. And I wouldn't say that, especially when you first join the police. Obviously, as you get higher and higher up, you know, it gets a bit more of a comfortable job. But, you know, those constables that are out, if there are any left, like on the beat and dealing with public affray, and that's hard. It's hard, but I think it's very difficult. It's a difficult job. I feel for them, but they've got to, you know, I don't know what the answer is, but let's say it's all wrong anyway. Well, David, you'd be okay. David's in B&Q shoplifting, but don't tell anyone. But you'll be fine, because the police, you know what I mean? They couldn't catch a cold, could they, at the moment? So let's have a look at Gracie Spinks. Now, I want to warn you about this. It's very sad. And if you've had a stalking experience, it's quite triggering. Okay, so just to be aware of it, because it's awful, this poor girl. So let's have a look at her. So this is Gracie with her horse, bless. And I'm not sure what this, she's believed to have been stabbed to death in June 2021 by 35-year-old Michael Sellers. Now, she was 23. Gracie was 23. The police made multiple errors after this allegation was made. We're going to listen to her 999 call shortly, very shortly. So she was 23. He was 35. He was a supervisor at work. So there you go. There's your power thing. You know, it's like he had a power over her, didn't he? So an inquest. So they've had an inquest, but it was a jury inquest. You know, where so the coroner called for a jury in this case, and this jury, and this is Derbyshire police who dealt with this, and it apparently the inquest has concluded that Derbyshire police made several errors in its limited investigation into a stalking allegation in the months before a woman's death. However, they were prevented from deciding whether these failings contributed to Gracie Spinks' death. Sorry, just need to have a look at this. Oh, that's Rio, who just says she's out walking her dogs. She sent me a photo of him. I don't know whether she thinks it's like it's sending a note. She has to prove why she's not on the line. Anyway, Rio, when you're watching this back, no problem. I hope you had a good walk. It looks nice there anyway. So following the inquest, the family, Miss Spinks's family, said that Derbyshire police had let her down and let them down, but the force said it fully accepted the findings of the jury and had made significant changes. Lessons to be learned. Yes, your daughter's dead, but that's okay, because we've learned lots of lessons. And, you know, sorry, I know your daughter's dead. And yes, we could perhaps have saved her, but we have learned lots of lessons. Anyway, the 10 members of the jury who wore pink and purple wristbands in Miss Spinks's memory concluded that the 23-year-old was unlawfully killed. She was last seen alive by her mother on the 18th of June 2021. She left the family home in Chesterfield to drive a few miles to Blue Lodge Farm Stables in Duckmanton. Half an hour later, she was found unconscious at the stables with a fatal stab wound to the neck. Now, the family haven't even had a chance to sort of get justice, face this twat who did this, because he then went and deleted himself. So the body of 35-year-old Michael Sellers, who she first met in 2020, when he was a former supervisor at a warehouse where she had a temporary job, was discovered in a nearby field a few hours later. He left, listen to what this twonk, the note that this twonk left. He had left a note saying he could not deal with all of her lies. Oh, the poor thing. Oh my God, I hope he's got his justice in the next world, because he was such a coward. He couldn't face his justice in this world. Twonk. Anyway, the coroner said this was one of various pieces of evidence that he had killed Miss Spinks and then taken his own life. Now, months before she died, this is where the police let her down, because months before she died, she had reported him to the police. We're going to listen to the call in a moment. Report to her employer and to the police for stalking, because he became infatuated with her. So it seemed like they'd got quite friendly over text and things, and then she decided she didn't really like him in that way, so she tried to sort of pull away, and that's when he started really stalking her. So he would turn up at the stables. He turned up at her stables where she kept her horse, which was where he finally killed her. So she had declined to be. Oh, how dare she? How dare she not want to go out with him? How dare she? I mean, she must have been mentally ill. I think she must have been mentally ill, or maybe she had a problem with alcohol or menopause at 23 or whatever, because how could she not have wanted to go out with this man? I mean, there must have been something wrong with her, mustn't there? Anyway, he became obsessed with her, because there was nothing wrong with him. He didn't have mental illness. No. And it was her. And he would repeatedly contact her and ask colleagues to report on her activity. Why didn't the colleagues say something, do something? And he would spy on her on CCTV. And finally, he was sacked when she was reported to her employer, because he was seen waiting in a lay-by near the stables in January 2021. Now, and also 8 other women had previously reported that his inappropriate conduct. So, it wasn't the first time he'd been reported for inappropriate conduct. Anyway, this is when it said, when she contacted Derbyshire Police, which, as I say, we're going to listen to the call shortly, that's when the inquest concluded the police force should have conducted a risk assessment. Apparently, the police referred to the risk level as mild at the time. Mild risk assessment. Well, they were right, weren't they? Because all he did was go and stab her in the neck with a knife. So, do you know what? That's just a sort of mild sort of stalking issue you might end up with. But the force should have referred the case to the Public Protection Unit, and employment records should have been sought. That's her parents. We're going to listen to them talking as well. Lodge Farm, which contained knives, a hammer, an axe, Viagra tablets, fork of twonk, and a note saying, "Don't lie, don't lie." because she was a liar, you know. Oh, yes, she was definitely her. She was a liar. She was mentally unstable and she had problems with alcohol and menopause. But yeah, so this was dismissed by police and no further action was taken. So they found this rucksack that they knew was his, and it contained knives, a hammer, and axe, Viagra tablets. But they took no further action. No further action. Nothing to see here. Lots of people walk around with an axe in their rucksack. You know, haven't you got one in your handbag? Anyway, the inquest found that there should have been an investigation. Oh, no shit, Sherlock, into the bag, including house-to-house enquiries and an examination of a receipt found in the bag. The police accepted their multiple failings prior to the jury's conclusion concerning their investigation into Miss Spinks' complaint and the handling of the bag. The jury agreed in their conclusion that there were failings, including that Mr. Sellers should not only have been given a warning. Anyway, it could not be concluded that these. Oh, sorry, Derbyshire Police Constabulary had admitted the following serious failings. However, it could not be concluded that these failings contributed to Gracie's death. On June the 18th, 2021, it was the supervisor that killed Gracie. The coroner, Matthew Cooley, said a prevention of future death report would be issued to Derbyshire Police's chief constable and others over the following days. You know what is going to happen about, you know what? Anyway, following the deaths, the IOPC, God, they're busy these days, aren't they? Bloody hell. I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a job, Desi, you should apply to the Independent Office for Police Conduct because they're bloody inundated. Anyway, so they've investigated 5 Derbyshire police officers for misconduct. Now, at least they've admitted that they failed her. So reading a statement on behalf of Derbyshire Police, oh my God, have you seen his name? Detective Superintendent Darren Death or Dath. Oh God, you couldn't make this shit up, could you? You just could not make this shit up. Detective Superintendent Darren Death said, put simply, as a force, I can only offer my own and the force's most sincere apologies. Yeah, we can't bring your daughter back, like, but you know. We have now heard the conclusion of the jury. We thank for their time and dedication, etc. We await any further recommendations that may come from the coroner, and we will review these in due course. But I want to be clear that since Gracie's death, this is Superintendent Death, says that since Gracie's death in June 2021, significant work has already been completed to tackle the failures that were identified prior to the inquest. So he reckons there's been significant changes into ways in which we as a force receive and investigate stalking reports. Well, do you know, we won't find out until the next death, will we, Superintendent Death? Okay, so Gracie's father, we're going to see the mother and father speaking in a bit, but he said that his daughter was loved by everybody that met her. She was just one of those types of people that you thought, I'd like to be with her again. I'd like to meet her again. A lovely young girl at the start of her life that was just cut too short. That poor girl. So that's her mum and dad, but we're going to see them listen to them talking in a minute. And there's Gracie with her horse. Oof. Anyway, okay, I'm just going to come back and see if I've missed anybody else coming in. Oh dear. I know Mr. Death, can you believe it, Jean? What's happened to Carla? Yeah. I tell you, I think people are really let down. People don't take stalking seriously until something like that happens. But it sounds like it wasn't even taken seriously then. God. Yeah, I'm going to buy a little axe to carry around in my bag because, you know, apparently that's what everybody does. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Now, we're going to listen to Paul Grace's 911 call. 911, sorry, got my American head on there. Grace's 999 call.
Hiya, I'm just wanting to report something that happened with a supervisor at my work.
Okay, what's your surname?
Spinks, Spinks.
And your first name?
Gracie. So it basically, me and this supervisor, we was a bit on Messenger and stuff, getting to know each other, and then I called it off because I didn't have no feelings for him. And then he became like obsessed with me and wouldn't leave me alone, and basically loads of things happened, and then on the 4th of January before work he was sat waiting at my horse's field, like waiting for me to go there, which scared me a lot. And so I drove straight to work and I told work, and they've been doing a big massive investigation on him and he got suspended. He got the sack, but then now he's trying to appeal it, saying that I'm a liar and this other person's a liar. And I don't want anything to happen. I don't want him to be arrested or anything, but I just want something to be on file and for me to report this, because my work.
See how nice she's trying to be. She's going, I don't want anything to happen to him. I don't want him to be arrested or anything. I think we're too nice. But, you know, as women especially, I think, are too nice. So, you know, I felt like that about my ex-partner. You don't want them to be arrested. You just want them to leave you alone. You just want to feel safe. If you know, I think I've mentioned before, anyway, and also if you've read my book, of course, you'll know. I was checking the boot of my car to make sure he wasn't there before I would drive off, because he'd had a copy of keys made of my car, and he'd given me one set back, but I didn't know if he had any other. Whenever I was working at a race course where I knew he would know that I would be there, because most of the time I had to just try, you know, I was moving from house to house and just always trying to be somewhere that he would not know where I was. No. And yeah, so I would literally have to open it's like a hatchback car. I'd open the boot, make sure he wasn't in the boot before I would drive off, because that's how it gets you in the end. She was probably a nervous wreck, this poor girl, and she's trying to just live a life normally. How dare he do that? She'd just gone to, he knew that she would go and see to that horse. You know, he knew that she would do that on her own as well. He waited till she was on her own. Oh.
I've said that things have happened like this in the past and that this is the worst one that's happened. And they've said that every time this has happened at work, it's got worse and worse. And I'm just worried that you know, the next time it happens to someone else, that you're not going to, you know, it could be worse than just
He might have only kidnapped her. Let's just listen one more time to that.
Good evening, Doris, please. How can I help?
Hiya, I'm just wanting to report something that happened with a supervisor at my work.
Okay, what's your surname?
Spinks, Spinks.
And your first name?
Gracie. So it basically, me and this supervisor, we was messaging a bit on Messenger and stuff, getting to know each other, and then I called it off because I didn't have no feelings for him. And then he became like obsessed with me and wouldn't leave me alone, and basically loads of things happened. And then on the 4th of January, before work, he was sat waiting at my horse's field, like waiting for me to go there, which scared me a lot. And so I drove straight to work, and I told work, and they've been doing a big massive investigation on him, and he got suspended. He got the sack, but then now he's trying to appeal it, saying that I'm a liar and this other person's a liar. And I don't want anything to happen. I don't want him to be arrested or anything, but I just want something to be on file and for me to report this, because my work have said that things have happened like this in the past, and that this is the worst one that's happened. And they've said that every time this has happened at work, it's got worse and worse, and I'm just worried that you know, the next time it happens to someone else, that you're not going, you know, it could be worse than just following me and not leaving me alone. You know, he might kidnap someone. Do you know what I mean?
So
Good evening, Doris, please. How can I help?
he'd done it before. He'd done it before to people at her work. So work knew about it. Maybe they should have sacked him a bit sooner. You know, so he had actually done it before. I tell you, well, yeah, Claire's told me about that, haven't you? You emailed me and let me know about that. Stalkers, they're funny, you know, because it's like, what is going on in their head? You know, if you like someone, you know, sometimes you meet someone, you like them, and you hope it turns into something, and then it turns out they don't like you as much as you like them. That's happened to me loads of times. So, you know, you just accept it, don't you? Because how can you make somebody like you if they don't? You know, I just don't understand it. I honestly, you know, it is. I suppose it's a mental illness. I suppose that's, well, he won't be saying anything because he's dead. Probably a good thing in a way. But it takes the. Oh, I just want to show you a picture of him, just so you know. So it sounds like he'd done it before. So I want to show you some more pictures of Gracie with her horse. Look, you can see this. Look at her with her horse. That horse would have been as well heartbroken, wondering, looking for her. Why hasn't she come to see her again? Here he is, the twonk. Here he is, twonk. Oh my God. You just hate them, don't you? You know, what made him feel that he had the right? Oh, look, there's the parents with the horse. Oh, he actually looks depressed, doesn't it? Actually looks sad, that horse. Oh my God. Oh, I'm going to start crying in a minute. Seriously. Look, that horse loves so you can see that horse. Hey. Anyway, so we're going to listen to the parents now talking. So they were appalled by the standard of policing. Appalled. Good God, so that's got to be pretty bad. So here they are talking on Sky News.
Gracie was just so passionate about horses, but also about singing, dancing. She was a brilliant artist, painter. She was just happy-go-lucky, says whatever she says is how it is. She was straight to the point. She was easy to get on with, loved by everybody that met her. And once you'd met her, you wouldn't forget her.
Oh.
She was one of those type of people that thought, oh, I'd like to be with her again. I'd like to meet her again.
Oh.
Just a lovely young girl at the start of her life that was just cut too short.
I mean, initially, to be honest, I just thought, he was 35, Gracie was only 23. I just kind of thought, it'll just pass. Do you know what I mean?
out,
Just
yeah.
fizzle out. Yeah, that, you know, he's fancying her. It's not reciprocated. It'll just go away. You know. I thought I'd just got a call saying that Gracie had been found at the field and was covered in blood. So initially I thought one of the horses. I literally dropped everything at work and I drove straight there. But all the time I'm driving there, I'm thinking, no, none of those horses. They're all lovely, gentle giants. And I know any animal can be predictable, but unpredictable, sorry. But I was thinking, no way would any of them horses have hurt her. But I never in a million years envisaged anything like that. And it was only when the guy from the air ambulance came over and said, "We think your daughter's been attacked."
They didn't join all the dots. They didn't investigate properly. It seemed like they wanted to deal with the case, just log it into the system and forget about it and put it away, as with the bag. There just seems to be a complete and utter failure by the police.
Hey, did you hear what he said? It felt like they didn't want to investigate at all. They just wanted to put it in a bag. What is wrong with the police? What's happened to the police? So what is it now? So unless the actual family kick off, or, you know, practically people are having to investigate their own crimes these days. For fuck's sake, they're going mad about armchair detectives. Well, let's have some proper detectives then. You know, you wouldn't have armchair detectives. They wouldn't be necessary if you had some proper detectives. You know, it's like, what is it? They find someone with a knife sticking out of their chest and they say, oh, it's self-deletion. As if nobody kicks off about it, because then that's just easy. Send it to the coroner. Coroner says, oh yeah, that's self-deletion. Just finds people that will back up the narrative, and just doesn't invite people to the inquest who dispute the narrative. This is how it feels. What's going on? And, you know, of course, then not only then there's the Wayne cousins, Sarah Everard thing. It's just one thing after another. These are not isolated incidents. There's something rotten going on. And, you know, I do think it's to do with underfunding. I don't think the police is. Remember, that's what happened with austerity. When austerity came in, public services were cut. And they can talk the biggest load of crap they want, but public services have been cut to the bone, including the police. So, you know, that's why the police do it. They just want a quiet life. They just want to get as many cases solved as possible, easy cases. They don't want to investigate things. They want to just do cut and dried cases.
To fully investigate this case and find out what was going on. And each officer that we saw, it seemed to get worse as it went on with what they said. It was shocking, to be honest. I was appalled at the standard of policing in this.
I mean, the whole inquest has been a really, really traumatic thing for us to all sit through day in, day out, hearing, you know, every aspect of the case, and also just to see all the various different officers just sitting there making their excuses. Basically, each one that's followed in turn has kind of been on the witness stand and has come across worse than the one before, if you know what I mean. It's just literally just been watching them squirm out of a situation.
I'd like to think that Gracie will make some changes across all the police forces eventually in this country. So they all do the same thing and they all deal with stalking in the same way, with proper training, first of all, and advocates in place to deal with stalking complaints, and a coordinator to coordinate that. And some of the police forces have got these offices in place and they work and they're successful. So why we can't do that across the country and all the police forces, I don't know. And that is what I want to achieve next. I want to make some changes in Gracie's name. If we could call it Gracie's Law, Gracie's Change, whatever, that's how I'd like her to be remembered. And then her death wouldn't have been in vain. I feel like some good would have come of it. And I'm sure that's happened in a way already.
Gosh. So, such nice people as well, are parents, what they've had to go through. Awful, 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 awful. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you about that. As I say, I wasn't expecting to do another live this afternoon. I've got another little video coming out after this, though, to tell you something about something that's happened in Spain you may know about already. And, you know, what can I say? What can I say about this case? It's tragic. It's another failure, another police force. And listen to the parents talking there. You know, how could they feel that, you know, to go after what's happened to your daughter and feel that the police were so sort of dismissive? It's awful, awful. Anyway, so members, well, you'll all see me very shortly because we're just going to put another video out that I did earlier. And then members, I'll see you at 8 o'clock. I'm going to have a little nap, I think. I think it's time for a little nap. Okay, and see, this is what puts me off falling in love, you know, because the thought of going through that again, once you've been through that once and survived it, you don't want to go through that again, that's for sure, and you'll do anything you can to avoid it. So what you do then is you just don't bother getting involved, because as soon as I get involved with someone, I'm thinking, what would they be like if I finish with them? You know, it's like it's just always in your head. Okay, so I'll see you very soon. I'll see you tonight in the members live, if you remember. Oh, I need to change that. And till I see you again, may your God go with you. Thank you so much.